Oh, my friend, there are moments in life when you look at your hands and wonder, is this all I was made for? Moments when the weight of lack tries to convince you that you were born to struggle, to barely make it, to only taste survival and never abundance. But hear me today, not with your ears, but with your heart. Your words were never meant to echo your situation. Your words were designed to command it. Before a river flows, something must break open. Before money moves, something must be spoken. Heaven's design has always been this: words first, manifestation next. You don't wait for circumstances to shift. You shift circumstances with the faith-charged sound of your voice. The same breath God placed inside you carries the power to rewrite the atmosphere, reroute the blessing, and redirect the resources assigned to your destiny. Money is not your master. Money is your servant. It listens when faith speaks. It responds when authority is released. It bows when you declare, provision follows me. Increase comes to me. Favor opens doors before me. When you speak like that, you're not wishing, you're legislating, you're not hoping, you're commanding. You're not begging, you're aligning heaven and earth to your assignment. There is no shortage in your Father's kingdom. There is only shortage in the words you release. So speak life, speak abundance, speak breakthrough, speak the future you carry in your spirit. Let your voice become the trumpet that tells every closed door to swing wide and every financial wall to fall flat. You are not empty. You are not forgotten. Your words are the keys, your voice is the weapon, your declaration is the doorway, and today, right now, your words can make money move. There is a deep and holy truth hidden in those 5 words. Your voice creates your victory. And when it becomes revelation instead of information, everything in your life begins to shift. You were never created to live silently under the weight of circumstances. You were created to participate in your breakthrough with the sound of your own faith. Your voice is not a background instrument. It is the leading force in your spiritual orchestra. When God breathed into you, He didn't just give you breath. He gave you authority, creative power, the ability to shape what comes next. Victory doesn't begin when circumstances change. Victory begins the moment you open your mouth and declare what heaven has already spoken over you. The enemy has always tried to silence believers because he knows your voice is dangerous, powerful, and capable of commanding spiritual movement. When your spirit rises and your voice aligns with God's promise, there is no chain that can stay locked and no wall that can stay standing. Your victory is not waiting for better conditions. Your victory is waiting for your declaration. Your voice creates momentum even when your life feels motionless. There are times when you feel stuck, surrounded, overwhelmed, or pressed on every side, and the temptation is to stay quiet, to shut down, or to assume that silence equals surrender. But silence is never the language of victory. Every giant in Scripture fell because someone dared to speak before they swung. David didn't defeat Goliath with a stone alone. He defeated him with a declaration that came before the stone ever left his sling. Your words are the first strike in every battle. When you speak faith, heaven hears it and hell fears it. When you speak boldly, angels move, mountains shift, and resistance weakens. Even when nothing changes immediately, your words create pressure in the spirit, a pressure that eventually forces breakthrough to manifest. Nothing is ever truly still when faith is speaking. Every time you declare life over your situation, you are pushing your future closer, breaking open unseen places, and planting seeds that will rise in due season. Your voice also reveals what you believe even before you realize what's inside you. If your heart is full of fear, your words will carry trembling. If your heart is full of faith, your words will carry fire. That's why transformation begins within you long before it appears around you. When you surrender your fears, your doubts, your worries, and you allow God's truth to saturate your spirit, your words begin to change. They gain weight, authority, clarity. They stop sounding like survival and start sounding like dominion. Your voice becomes a weapon instead of a whisper. It becomes the echo of a renewed heart, a strengthened spirit, and a mind anchored in promise. Your victory grows as your inner world shifts and your voice follows the change. The miracle is that once your voice changes, your life must follow. You cannot speak faith consistently and stay in defeat. You cannot declare increase and remain in lack. You cannot speak healing and stay broken. Your voice eventually forces your reality to bow. Your voice creates your atmosphere long before it creates your outcome. What you speak over your home, your finances, your family, your purpose, your dreams, it sets the climate for breakthrough or for stagnation. A home filled with fear-filled words becomes heavy and dark, but a home filled with praise, faith, declarations, and bold confession becomes a place where miracles feel normal. Your environment responds to the sound you allow. When you wake up and speak life, you set your day on a foundation that cannot be shaken. When you speak abundance, you break the spirit of limitation. When you speak peace, chaos loses power. Your words go ahead of you and prepare the ground for what God wants to release. They soften hardened places, they clear spiritual debris, and they open doors that were sealed shut. Before victory manifests in your hands, it first takes shape in your atmosphere. And your voice is what builds that atmosphere day by day, declaration by declaration. Your voice creates your victory because your voice is the evidence of your agreement with heaven. Victory is not accidental, it is intentional. It is born from alignment, from agreement, from the sound of faith spoken boldly into the unseen. When you declare what God has said about you, you activate spiritual laws that cannot fail. Provision begins to flow, solutions begin to appear, and supernatural help begins to surround you. Your victory comes closer with every word rooted in truth. It doesn't matter how loud the storm is, your voice has authority over it. It doesn't matter how strong the mountain looks, your voice was designed to move it. It doesn't matter what the enemy whispers, your voice carries a greater kingdom, a greater power, a greater promise. As long as you speak, you are fighting. As long as you speak, you are building. As long as you speak, you are creating. And every word you release in faith becomes another step toward the victory already written with your name on it. Money responds to authority, not anxiety. Those words carry a truth that can break years of financial fear in a single moment. Many people chase money with trembling hands and worried hearts, hoping that fear might somehow produce favor. But anxiety has never attracted abundance. Anxiety clouds the mind, weakens the spirit, and fills the atmosphere with a sound that heaven never responds to. Authority, on the other hand, carries a weight, an inner confidence rooted not in bank balances but in divine identity. Authority comes from knowing who you are, whose you are, and what has already been promised. Money is not moved by panic, pressure, or desperation. It moves when you stand in a place of spiritual and mental dominion. Authority sounds different. It speaks with clarity, not confusion. It commands, it does not plead. It declares, it does not beg. When you rise up with authority and speak to your finances, your life, your assignment, and your resources, something shifts, not because of volume, but because of certainty. Heaven recognizes authority. The earth responds to authority. Even lack recognizes authority and must bow. When you live from anxiety, every decision becomes reactionary. You spend out of fear. You plan from a place of limitation. And you think small because your heart is unsettled. Anxiety tells you there isn't enough. You must hold tighter. Things might fall apart. And when anxiety speaks, scarcity grows in the shadows. But when you operate from authority, your decisions come from a place of abundance, even if circumstances haven't caught up yet. Authority says, I am not ruled by lack. I am guided by wisdom. I am led by purpose. Anxiety counts what you have and decides what is impossible. Authority looks at the same situation and declares possibility in places where the natural eye sees none. Money responds to the one who is calm, grounded, centered, and anchored in trust. It flows toward the one who refuses to panic. it multiplies in the hands of those who carry confidence. When your inner world shifts from anxiety to authority, your outer world begins to reflect it. Suddenly, opportunities appear where dead ends once stood. Doors open that fear kept shut. Clarity replaces confusion, and financial wisdom flows naturally. Authority is not loud, it is rooted. It comes from identity, not insecurity. When you know that you are designed for increase and not shortage, your financial language shifts. You stop speaking defeat and start speaking dominion. You stop praying from fear and start declaring from faith. You stop hoping for just enough and start expecting overflow. Many speak words of blessing while carrying hearts full of doubt, and the conflict between the two neutralizes their progress. Authority requires agreement. Your words must match your belief, and your belief must align with truth. When your inner belief is anchored in abundance, your actions begin to reflect confidence. You negotiate differently, you dream differently, you expect differently. You don't chase money, it begins to chase you. Because your energy, your mindset, and your declarations signal readiness. Anxiety repels wealth because it communicates instability, but authority attracts wealth because it communicates stewardship, clarity, and capacity. When you stand in authority, you become a magnet for opportunities, partnerships, and provision, because the atmosphere around you testifies that you are prepared to handle what is coming. Money responds to authority because authority creates order. When your finances feel chaotic, it is rarely because of money itself. It is usually because anxiety has been driving your decisions. Authority brings structure. It forces your mind to slow down, think clearly, and operate with purpose. Authority tells you to budget not from fear, but from vision. Authority gives you the courage to sow, to save, to plan, to build, and to pursue God-given ideas without being paralyzed by what ifs. Authority calms a whirlwind inside you so you can hear divine strategy. Ideas that once felt too big suddenly feel attainable. Doors you hesitated to knock on suddenly feel meant for you. Money flows toward people who have structure because structure expands capacity. Anxiety diminishes capacity because it shrinks your world to survival mode. Authority expands your world to purpose mode. When your inner world is established, money recognizes it. When your spirit is calm and your decisions are intentional, resources begin to align with you. You stop fighting to keep what you have and start rising into what belongs to you. Money responds to authority, not anxiety, because authority is the language of faith, and anxiety is the language of fear. Every time you speak from fear, you delay the very blessings you desire. But every time you speak from authority, you accelerate your journey into abundance. Authority does not mean arrogance. It means alignment. It means standing in agreement with the truth that you were not created for constant strain. You were not designed to live under financial pressure. You were built to walk in wisdom, strength, and divine provision. When you speak to your finances with authority, declaring increase, commanding favor, releasing expectation, heaven backs your words. You speak as one who knows their position, not their problem. And when authority becomes your posture, money can no longer ignore you. It begins to obey the spiritual laws that govern abundance. It follows your voice, responds to your decisions, honors your discipline, and multiplies in your hand. Your words are bridges to your future. This truth is more than a poetic phrase. It is a spiritual law that governs the trajectory of your life. Every sentence you speak becomes a plank, a beam, a foundation stone laid in the direction of where you are going. Your future is not formed only by decisions or effort. It is shaped by the continuous stream of words you release day after day. Words carry creative power. They reach into what does not yet exist and begin forming the architecture of what will be. When you speak life, you build highways toward destiny. When you speak fear, you build walls around your potential. Your words are never wasted. They are always building something. Even silence plays a role, because refusal to speak faith leaves your future without structure. But when your words align with vision, promise, and faith, They begin constructing a pathway sturdy enough to carry you into everything God has placed inside your spirit. Your voice is not simply a sound in the air, it is a blueprint for tomorrow. Your words are bridges because they connect your present reality to your future possibility. Right now, your life may show limitations, closed doors, or slow progress, but your words can reach beyond the present and establish the future long before you arrive there. When you declare abundance in a season of lack, you are not lying. You are laying down boards for the bridge that will carry you out of limitation. When you speak joy in moments of heaviness, you are building the path toward emotional freedom. When you speak purpose over confusion, you are preparing the route toward clarity. Words travel ahead of you and do the work you cannot yet see. They prepare spaces, open possibilities, and influence outcomes before you ever step into them. The enemy fights hardest to silence your voice because he knows that your words have the power to pull your future closer. If he can control your words, he can control your bridge. But the moment you reclaim your voice, the construction begins again and destiny becomes reachable once more. Your words are bridges not only because they build, but because they carry weight. Every declaration you make adds strength to the spiritual structure you are walking on. When you speak faith consistently, your bridge becomes reinforced with confidence and boldness. But when you speak doubt, fear, or negativity, you weaken the boards beneath your feet. Many people live with a fragile bridge because their language shifts based on emotions. One day they speak hope, the next day defeat. One moment they declare increase, the next moment they cancel it with complaining. Your future cannot be reached with unstable speech. Stability in confession creates stability in direction. When your words become steady, aligned with promise, anchored in truth, your bridge becomes strong enough to hold the weight of your destiny. You begin to walk with certainty instead of hesitation. You move forward with purpose instead of fear. Nothing in your life becomes too heavy for the bridge your faith-filled words have built. Your words are bridges because they transport more than your dreams. They transport your identity. Every time you speak, you are reminding your spirit who you are and where you are going. Identity is not shaped in silence. It is shaped in declaration. When you speak strength, you become strong. When you speak wisdom, you grow wise. When you speak success, you begin to live with the mindset of a winner. Words are not shallow. They change the internal atmosphere of your heart. They create alignment between your beliefs and your actions. A person who speaks intentionally becomes a person who acts intentionally. A person who declares a vision becomes someone who prepares for it. And preparation is proof that your bridge is working. The future does not come to the passive. It comes to the ones who speak it into motion and then walk across the bridge their words have formed. Your identity travels first and your life follows. Your words are bridges to your future because words carry you where effort alone cannot. Effort can only move you as far as your mindset allows, but your declarations can take you into places your mind has not yet fully imagined. Words elevate you, expand you, stretch you, and propel you. They build a road from what is to what can be. They bypass obstacles because a spoken word can leap over barriers the natural cannot move. They cut through delays because a faith-filled declaration can speed up what was stuck. They open doors because authority spoken from the mouth unlocks what fear tried to seal. Your future's not a mystery waiting to reveal itself. It is a bridge waiting to be built. And every word you speak, every declaration of faith, every confession of promise, every sentence of hope becomes the structure that carries you into the life you were born to live. Faith-filled speech turns delay into acceleration. These words contain a spiritual mystery that many overlook while waiting for breakthroughs that seem slow to come. Delay is not denial, but delay often exposes the condition of the heart and the quality of one's confession. Many people wait with frustration, speaking words of discouragement, disappointment, and doubt, unknowingly extending the very delays they wish would end. But when faith enters the mouth, everything begins to shift. Your word carries spiritual force. They are not passive sounds, but active agents in the unseen realm. Faith-filled speech has the power to speed up what was stalled, clarify what was clouded, and open what seemed sealed. When you speak with faith, you align your voice with the laws of the Spirit, and acceleration begins to break through the atmosphere. What once moved slowly begins to respond quickly. What once resisted progress begins to yield. Faith-filled speech is like a spiritual wind that pushes your destiny forward, making up for lost time and redeeming wasted seasons. Your voice, when filled with faith, is the ignition that transforms waiting into moving. Delays often become prisons because the mind begins to believe that nothing is happening, nothing will change, and nothing can shift in your favor. But faithful speech interrupts that cycle. Faith refuses to let delays define the outcome. Faith speaks into the future as though the future were already in your hands. When you speak with confidence, my breakthrough is coming, my doors are opening, my season is shifting, you are not simply reciting hopeful words, you are applying spiritual pressure to circumstances that had settled into stillness. Faith-filled speech disrupts stagnation. It breaks the grip of limitation. It shakes the dust off dreams that were starting to fade. Your words become spiritual catalysts, accelerating what had been suspended. Even when you cannot see movement, faith creates movement in the unseen. Delays lose their power when your mouth refuses to cooperate with frustration and instead chooses to cooperate with promise. Faithful speech accelerates because faith speaks from completion, not confusion. Faith declares the end even while you're standing at the beginning. When you speak from the finished perspective, I am healed. I am provided for. I am rising. I am favored. You speak from heaven's timeline, not earth's timetable. Heaven is not delayed. Heaven is not waiting. Heaven is not behind schedule. And when your words align with heaven's pace, your life begins to catch up to heaven's reality. This creates supernatural acceleration because your speech pulls your earthly experience into agreement with the already established spiritual truth. Acceleration does not happen because you try harder. It happens because you speak differently. When your words echo the finished work instead of the current struggle, the future moves toward you at a speed that natural processes cannot explain. Faith-filled speech creates acceleration by collapsing the distance between promise and manifestation. Faithful speech also accelerates because it strengthens your internal momentum. Delays often wear down emotional stamina, but faith builds it back up. When you speak life, strength rises. When you speak hope, clarity returns. When you speak victory, endurance grows. This internal strengthening eliminates hesitation, insecurity, and fear, three forces that slow destinies down. A person who speaks faith becomes a person who moves boldly. Their vision sharpens, their ideas awaken, and their decisions become fueled by purpose instead of caution. The internal acceleration created by faithful speech translates into external acceleration because a strengthened spirit acts decisively. What once took months now takes days. What once felt impossible becomes achievable. Opportunities appear because your voice has prepared the atmosphere. Faith-lived speech turns your spirit into a powerful engine that propels your life forward, regardless of what previously delayed you. When the inside speeds up, the outside begins to match it. Faith-filled speech turns delay into acceleration because faith changes the pace of your life. Delays are powerless in the presence of consistent, unwavering declarations. Faith keeps speaking even when the situation tries to silence you. Faith calls forth speed where there has only been stagnation. Faith declares movement where there has only been waiting. Faith accelerates destiny because it speaks with the authority of someone who knows the outcome is already secure. When your mouth becomes a vessel of faith, you cease to be a victim of timing and become a participant in divine acceleration. What was slow begins to move fast. What was held up begins to break through. What was postponed begins position. Everything starts to catch up to the promise your voice has been declaring. Your future responds, your path opens, and your destiny runs toward you because faith-filled speech has shifted the atmosphere from delay to acceleration. As we come to the end of this message, let these truths settle deeply into your spirit. Your voice is not ordinary. Your words are not empty. Every declaration you release carries the power to shape what comes next. You have heard that your voice creates your victory, and now you understand why. Because heaven responds when faith speaks. You've learned that money responds to authority, not anxiety, and now you know that your financial life begins to move when you rise above fear and speak from a place of confidence and identity. You've seen that your words are not just expressions, they are bridges carrying you from where you stand today into the future that has been waiting for you. And you have discovered that faith-filled speech can turn delay into acceleration, redeeming lost time and pulling breakthrough closer. Everything you desire, everything you've prayed for, everything your heart has carried, it is all connected to the sound of your faith. Your words prepare the atmosphere, shift the direction, influence the outcome, and open the pathway. You are not powerless. You are not waiting helplessly for something to happen. You have a voice that can move mountains, call forth provision, command increase, silence fear, and invite the supernatural into your everyday life. So walk forward with boldness. Speak like someone who knows their authority. Declare like someone who expects divine results. Build the future you desire with the sound of your own faith. The kingdom inside you is greater than any opposition around you, and your words will lead you straight into the destiny heaven has already written for you. Thank you for listening. Stay encouraged, stay expectant, and stay faith-filled. God bless you.